Welcome to Nice and Blunt. We got the wrong intro timing, so maybe not the best first vibes, but we're good. We're chilling. Today is Wednesday, April 8th, 3:15 p.m. We're just a tiny bit late to the scheduled time, but I think we're going to be good. We are so close to filling this tournament. We're going to get in as many drafts as we can. And here we go. Let us begin. No! Man, that's a bummer. I had it for the single shot. I wanted it for this. We didn't get the transition. Not great. Not great showing just to start off. Just a little bit of a miscue. But that's okay. We got Nick Bocklage in here. What the fuck indeed. A little bit brutal, but it's not like we can't make it up. We can't it's not like we can't fix it. We'll say that. But indeed, Scott, today we're going to make some money. We're going to hop into a big board draft. I have it ready on the phone. I did not waste any time. So if you want to hop in with me, I am ready to go, and we will be joining in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 4 spots left. 4 spots left in this big board. This tournament is very, very close to filling. So ideally, we're going to be able to get a third draft going. Nick is saying it's slow 8 hours. Is it? Is it? Oh, shit. You're right. Fuck. You're right. Oh, no. Okay, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I'm getting the fuck out. I'm getting the fuck out. That sucks. Really? Fuck, you're right. Damn it. Damn it. Okay. Well, in that case, I don't think we're going to have... I'm going to close the poll in that case, because there's just no way I can do a third draft. I have 2 war rooms available, and while I do think I will be doing one of these big boards, definitely can't do it on live. That fucking sucks. Why? Why does it have to do that? I hope so, man. I sure hope so. So with that in mind, hopefully they open it up in the next hour. I might only be doing one draft in this case. I think we will only do one. And since we're live, I'm not gonna back out. There's no reason to do that. We're gonna hop into a war room. There's no other option. There's no other option. I have to hop into a war room. I'm done with all my little boards. All right. So, if you are interested in competing in this war room with me, then things have changed. Hopefully you got out of that big board if you don't want to do a slow draft. I'll probably do that off the live, but at least today I am stuck. So, let me get this on the phone in case it doesn't let me, but yep, that's what we're going to do. Doing a war room in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. I don't think so. I don't think so, Young Moolah. It does not. It does not at all. The phone also... Here, let me... The phone is also an 8-hour pick. You see, there's only one selection. Normally there's 2. There's only one option. Bummer. All right. Yeah. You know what? The brutal vibes at the top definitely indicated maybe we weren't going to have the best luck today. So let me get rid of that poll. But we're going to be all right. We are in this lobby. We're still waiting on 2. If you want to hop into this war room with me, you can join. There's still 2 spots left. But it's going to be cutthroat. if this is the only draft I can do of the day, it's going to be cutthroat. I can assure you that. So, how do I get rid of this poll? I'm not sure. I don't fucking see it. Bear with me. I apologize. I'm going to put on the music. Let's at least get the music on. Holy shit. All right. Poll has ended. Bummer. Boo. We had 7 votes. All of y'all were in there. That's a bummer. But I guess this draft is a little bit more exciting then. Instead of multiple big boards, we just have one big board. One war room. Boy. I'm fumbling today. If you caught yesterday's live stream, we had an awesome show with PPR Tyler. That one was awesome. Check out the replay. I'm sure he'll be going live later today. So check out his channel. PPR Tyler and Toxic Tower. We also had Hartman on the channel on Monday. Check out Hartman Fantasy Football. Another friend of the channel. Last week, we were on with Jiri. We also had 2 collabs with Off the Schneid. I was on his channel. He was on mine. And then beyond that, we also had Whohames on the channel a couple times. We had Candyman on the channel. Check out the Fantasy Football Garage. And then we also had Bindles as well as Young Moolah, Anthony from BestBall On Call, Jamie Pirog from IDP Center, and forgive me if I'm forgetting anyone. We've had quite a few guests, but I believe that's everyone. I believe that's everyone. Hopefully, we'll have some more collabs coming in due time. I would love to reach out to some names that have yet to be on the channel and also bring back some previous guests as well. So, if you're watching, if you're interested, you can shout me an email at niceandblunt@gmail.com or find me on X. And speaking of which, Nick, I think that'd be awesome to have you on the channel. Nick, you've been in a few of our drafts. I've seen you on other channels. I would be happy to have you on. So let me get... if you're still watching... If you're still watching, I will hopefully find you on X soon, and maybe we can set something up. But in general, just any creator as well. But especially after the draft, we'll have so much more to talk about. I'm sure it'll be more exciting content. It helps to have a guest. This time of year is just like a little bit of a lull. Let's be honest, just like a little bit. Just a little bit. I think because it's so close to the end of the contest, I don't feel that it's a lock to switch back. I've typically seen the tail end of every contest pivot to only slow drafts. So because it is so close to filling, it's the final 2%. Maybe they are going to lock in a few slows just to make sure that everyone who has been in those slow lobbies and is still waiting gets a chance to do that. And maybe that's the case where in like an hour it is back open. Maybe it will change. But I could also see just being a 98% fill. I'm not convinced that that will happen. But damn, one more spot in this war room, if you would like it. Taking a minute to fill. In the meantime, maybe we can try a grid today. Maybe we can do a grid. All right. Any kicker, basically, for the Commanders, Jets, or Eagles. And then we also have some combo players. All right. I think we're just going to go with recent kickers. I don't think he's actually the kicker this season, but Matt Gay, I know, has played for the Commanders. So fuck it. We'll do that. He's there. 15%, and that's not bad. The Jets kicker, obviously Zerline would be the top name. But that's what most people are going to say. Is there a Jets kicker I can think of that's older than that? Not really. So I think we'll just go with Greg Zerline. 19%, that's actually much lower than I would have expected. I didn't think that many... I feel like most people who would have answered this poll would have gone with Greg Zerline. So that's interesting, but our lobby did fill, thankfully. We won't be stuck on this for too long, but let's at least pull up Jake Elliott. 52%. Yeah, that's what I was expecting for Greg Zerline. So we got the kickers down. A Jet and Brown. We'll go Crowell. 7%. Let's go. Draft starting soon. We got pick 7. Can we fill this before it's the case? I'll go Lattimore. Pretty recent trade. Might be high on the list. Only 28. Thought it might be higher, so that's not bad. And then a Jet and a Saint. I mean, did Geno Smith ever play in New Orleans? I feel like Geno Smith might qualify for this, but maybe not. There was someone who recently got traded there, or like a safety, if I can recall. But honestly, it's evading me, and some of these team combos are not that exciting. So at the moment, we're 5 for 5. Maybe we'll come back to this, but at the moment, I'm going to move on. Let's take a look at the main event, shall we? We're in this war room. We got $25 at stake. We have to finish top 2, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, only top 2 of 12 will advance. Then we enter a 10-team pod where, again, we had to finish top 2, at least not only first. And then top 2 in the semifinals, where we would then enter a 30-seat final. That'd be pretty solid. That's not bad. Pretty small final. If we do make the final, we make $100. Not amazing, but placing higher in the final obviously pays out better. 6th place is $5K, and first place is $20,000. So at least the tournament is kind of small, at least in that regard. We're in good shape, but I haven't updated my personal rankings in a minute, so even though they were just shown on the screen, I'm not convinced that those are how I feel as of this moment. We could just go with running back, but I think I'm going to go with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Wide receiver's a little bit weird. I trust I will have at least one running back I'm comfortable with at pick 18. And with that in mind, I'll just take my favorite receiver of the group. Let's stay balanced. Let's give ourselves some options and go in a slightly safer direction. I think choosing the correct running back at pick 8 is actually kind of difficult, especially with Taylor off the board. While yes, McCaffrey could finish back in the top 3 is a very compelling argument to be drafted that high, I genuinely don't think we know the correct order of running back. Whereas in terms of safety net at receiver, there are some names that are just, as long as they stay healthy, are going to give you points. And I think I'm a firm believer that while you cannot win your draft in round 1, you can lose it. There are some picks where you can lose the draft early on. And although McCaffrey is quite often the pick that wins you the draft in the first round, or at least completes correct first round draft capital, he has also quite often been a player that has lost you the draft. So Amon-Ra never has been that. He also gets a little dinged up and plays through it. It takes a lot to take him off the field, and I love the Drew Petzing acquisition for them. I feel very confident in projecting Amon-Ra St. Brown as a top 5 wide receiver. So taking the money in the bank. Interesting that CeeDee Lamb fell to pick 15. Would have loved Omarion Hampton there, but we do not get him. Instead, we are going to pull up Derrick Henry. I love an Amon-Ra St. Brown, Derrick Henry start. It's a little less common and I am not convinced that Derrick Henry doesn't deserve first-round draft capital. I think you could argue he's better than Ashton Genty. He's better than James Cook. He could stay healthier than CMC, and at the moment, I trust his quarterback situation a lot more than Jonathan Taylor and the Colts. So I will take Baltimore's running back. I know he's old. That's the only problem, but he has overcome many times, and he is like the ageless wonder. Like, if there's one athlete that just stays on the field, I think Derrick Henry is a pretty safe bet. So I'm willing to go against ADP here. Achane falls to pick 22. That's pretty interesting. Max Achillian with Jamar Chase gets Devon Achane. That's a fun combo. But there is also a scenario where Achane just fucking sucks. There is a scenario where without touchdowns, he reverts to like a 10, 11 point per game player, not the 20 point per game player we know him as. So little risky. I think that's fair in a smaller contest when there's $25 on the line instead of only 10. Makes some sense that this ADP is maybe a bit more accurate. Crazy though that Trey McBride went to Powerball 4 at pick 12. That's not going to be a very common combination. So at the very least, Team 12 is getting very unique in this contest. But like I said, kind of shocking that CeeDee Lamb fell to pick 15. Goldie Flops at pick 10 got Genty and CeeDee Lamb. Not bad. But I was really hoping I could get Omarion Hampton at 18. We were one pick away. But I'm comfortable with who we have in Derrick Henry. But Pepper Tony in here, Fimpst. How you doing, man? Welcome in. And despite the player on the thumbnail, I'm not going to be compelled to be taking Breece Hall. Maybe if this was a big board and I just wanted higher exposure, maybe I would do that. But not in this moment. Chris Olave goes, so I know who I want. I'm hopeful he does not get sniped right here. I have a feeling he will, but I'm not going to speak it into existence until the sweet. AJ Brown goes, I would have been fine with AJ Brown, but in all honesty, I wanted a running back here, and Travis Etienne, Travis Achane, is available. Very comfortable with him in the third round. I think once he's off the board, then I go to Josh Allen, but I don't think Tet McMillan is worthy of a pick that high. Maybe even Rashee Rice is not worthy of that, but I do have Achane, the Saints running back, over Josh Jacobs. So I'm happy with that. We are chilling. We are in good shape. At the running back position, we did not fall behind at all, despite going receiver round 1. We got an anchor, true, legitimate, like, staple in our lineup, and I think we're good. But Young Mulas has Goldie Flop sitting in the driver's seat after 2 rounds in a war room. This will be maybe 1 of 1 combo. Absolutely. I think he just fucked it up, though, with Breece Hall. I'm not a Breece Hall drafter. If anything, him being on the thumbnail today is a kind of a psych out. I'm never pro Jets. I've learned my lesson too many times. But goes Breece Hall, Kyron Williams. That's not bad at all. Travion goes at pick 40. That would not have been bad. Would not have hated that. And I kind of want to get in at running back a little bit here. I kind of want to push it. But if one name is on the board, I have to. And I think he's there. I think I fucking have to. I like Igbuka a lot. But I'm going to take the bet that the Raven comes back. Didn't even check if we're in a lobby with any of you, but I don't think so. I don't recognize any of these names. For the most part, I do not. And I've seen him fall back a lot. So at the very least, there's only one name I kind of regret passing on there. And he just went off. It's Igbuka. I do think Igbuka is a fucking smash. Guaranteed round 4 pick. But I also think Flowers will return round 4 capital. So I don't think it's the wrong decision. And I'm willing to bet that we do get, you know, the Ravens trio. So let's see. Let's see what happens. But yes, that team at 4 is that team at 12, Powerball 4, is reaching like crazy. I mean, I don't know. I got no fucking clue. There is divisional correlation. The Arizona Niners. I think they're just taking pick 12 as like such an excuse to go unique, and I think they're going overboard. A little overboard from Team 12. But who knows? Maybe the rest of it will be totally like right at ADP. Maybe there's nothing crazy that happens the rest of the way. But very, very interesting start from Team 12. They go Trey McBride, Saquon Barkley, David Montgomery, and Mike Evans. Neither of those players were going to make it back, though. Maybe Montgomery, but odds are no. We did not get our stack either. That's a bummer. Lamar Jackson goes 52. So I kind of regret not getting Igbukah. We had Henry and Flowers. So it's a consolidated bet on Baltimore. And unfortunately, we don't get it. But Rome goes there. Dang. Yeah, that's a little sad. Not gonna lie. A little sad. I think in that case, we will just further our strength at running back. And although this is the side of the board that is heavily favoring running back, I'm not convinced that once Rome comes off the board, all those receivers are that valuable. The tier feels very, very flat. And I don't see a massive difference between Cardinal Tate and potentially whoever's going to make it back with our next pick. I'm also already kind of comfortable with Amon-Ra Zay Flowers, so let's just dig our heels in to our strength and take a bet that Jacksonville's offense is just one that I want. I'd be comfortable just kind of taking a bunch of Jaguars with like the next 3 or 4 picks. I think there's a way where literally Bishal Tootin and the next 3 picks could all be Jaguars. But in this contest, perhaps stacking is not as critical. Perhaps trying to wedge myself into a Lamar Jackson stack there at pick 55 was incorrect, but I thought Team 4 would probably take a running back. I thought there would be more running backs than just Bucky Irving taken around that term. I'll be honest with you. So if that would have happened, I would have at least gotten Rome or DJ Moore. I thought I would get a good wide receiver, even if I pushed it. But damn, Quinchon comes back. I mean, fuck. Let's do it. Fuck it. Let's be really strong at running back. Like me, teams 11 and 12 are calling everyone's bluff. I might be pushing it too much. There's a world where I do regret this, but at least a position that dries up so fucking fast is mostly complete on my roster already. And I do have Amon-Ra St. Brown at the very least. One of like the most reliable weekly starts in your lineup. So this is not how I planned it to go. But if you're telling me I'm strong at one position, make it running back and I'll be comfortable with that. Shout out PPR Tyler's draft yesterday. We went heavy running back and it felt pretty good. If I like my 5th, I'll probably just stop at 5, but I can at least wait for a very long time, get some valuable handcuffs that don't need to contribute very much. So running back room is great. Last draft we did on the stream with PPR Tyler also had pretty strong running backs. Maybe not this crazy, but that one felt pretty good. And then off the stream, I was in the chat with Goofy Chicken Fantasy. If you have not heard of Goofy Chicken Fantasy yet, he's been in the chat, he's watched the channel, and yesterday I was watching his channel, had a blast. He's got great vibes. The soundboard, audio, production value is off the chart. Like, really love Goofy Chicken Fantasy's energy and deserves some deserves a shout out. Had a great time in his chat drafting in the same lobby as he was. That was fun. So if you're interested to see how that went, go over to Goofy Chicken Fantasy. Give him a subscription. Check out his latest live stream. And I'm not sure exactly when his next live stream will be, but when it is, I hope to catch it. I can assure you that. But damn, okay. Well, I almost took Parker Washington with the last pick. We're just taking what the board gives us at this point. And maybe I get screwed by the Brian Thomas drafter, but maybe not. Maybe I don't. Maybe they go with Dak Prescott and pass on Trevor Lawrence. Perhaps Goldie Flops leaves me the fuck alone. Nope. He does not. He does not. But getting Parker Washington pick 79 I think is awesome. We did push quarterback again. Might have been the wrong move. Goldie Flops, they better be happy with their Brian Thomas stack, because that's not a lock to actually be the case. They passed on the Dak. Oh, damn. Team 12. Fuck you. Goes Jared Goff 84? Fuck you. The fuck is Team 12 doing? Fuck you. And Wandale Robinson. Okay, so two players I was like highly coveting in this draft off the board. That sucks. All right, this war room is no joke, but I don't think we're floundering. I still think we're fine. Tucker Kraft off the board. That's a good click. Don't think I was really in the market though. Herbert off the board, unstacked as well. At least that team has the Brian Thomas tentative stack, but there is a world where Brian Thomas stacks up with Justin Herbert. I believe that is still on the table. Unlikely, but on the table. Unfortunately, I think I just need to go receiver with a quarterback here. I think I might just have to do that. But I'm going to go Chris Godwin and open up the door for Baker Mayfield. I'm still going to push it. And I might really hate myself. But I'm going to push it one more time. We missed out on really good values, and then I really believe that one guy I would have liked circles back, and maybe I'm just going to get screwed again. Maybe I am really just burying myself. But no risk it, no biscuit. The reward, if I get a good combination, the rest of this draft will be 100% worth it. And that team with Addison goes Dobbs. That team at 1 is still live to be fine, but also like risking getting buried as well. It has Hurts, Bowers, Bijan, and then 6 wide receivers. Hurts is unstacked. But he doesn't need to be stacked. It's not the end of the world. This pick is critical. I need to know what Beast 5 does here in order to feel safe. I could really regret my options with this Baker click. All right. Fuck me. But no. Purdy's still here. I'll take Brock Purdy. Almost took Purdy with the last click. Maybe I should have gone Ricky Pearsall with that in mind. But both of them have injury concerns. One of them I think can be better. It's probably Godwin. Now that Evans is gone, probably Godwin has the higher ceiling. He's put up top 5 numbers in the past. It's just his ankle and leg injury that's really the problem. But Ricky almost never stays on the field. And we would have had the stack, but it's not the only stack you can acquire with Purdy. So not the end of the world at all. But this lobby has gone very, very unique. Very interesting way for this thing to go. But what's up, Dev? How you doing, brother? Good to see you once again. BestBall 210 says can take a late Kirk for the easy stack. That's one of my favorite clicks. So yeah, that's definitely on my mind. And then we've also seen George Kittle come into really nice value recently. I think I'm in good shape, honestly. We got the 1440 build with Amon-Ra, Zay Flowers, Parker Washington, and Chris Godwin at receiver, so that can get the job done. I don't hate our receiver room at all. I think we're actually looking pretty solid. And then running back is fucking awesome with Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne, Bijal Tootin, and Quinshon Judkins. That feels phenomenal. Our quarterback, we got the value of Brock Purdy, and I think I'm going to get the saving grace pick here, and we get it. We get Tyler Shuck, who is stacked up with our running back. Travis Etienne with Tyler Shuck does stack up. We got the New Orleans Saints offense, I think, absolutely going to take a big leap this year. Definitely one that I think is undervalued, and I'm super excited to have this fallback with Tyler Shuck. We sniped the team with Chris Olave. He sniped us on Godwin. The Godwin stack with Baker Mayfield. He has Igbuka. It made sense. I had a feeling it might happen, but we get Brock Purdy and Tyler Shuck. I'm perfectly fine with that, and I would agree, Bukowski. I think at this point, this was like the critical stage of this draft. How it went was going to decide it. I do agree. I think I can land this thing. Would have liked a different stacking partner, perhaps, but there's still 10 rounds. We are not done. We're in business. But George Kittle off the board with Brock Purdy, so not going to get that. That would have been cool. But I do think 117 is a little high to take George Kittle. Just a little high. Our running back room doesn't need much help, so these names aren't that coveted. Rashad falling to me at 127, I think I would still pass on. I don't know if I'm in the market for running back right now. But I'm guessing who I want the most is going to be sniped here. I'm guessing this next pick is the receiver I want. But no, that team with Baker goes Sam Darnold. And that means I am going to get him. Yeah, let's go Jalen McMillan with confidence here. I'm happy about that. We get a little fade on Igbuka, and then maybe like a mismatched week of ping pong production out of the Bucks wide receiver. That's an offense I like to bet on. A lot of touchdown upside, and yeah, happy with Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan on this roster. Maybe Jaden Higgins was a better click, but I've really soured on him after last year's experience. I am more interested in a much cheaper option if I'm going to go with an ancillary wideout in Houston. If I'm not getting Nico Collins, I think I'm kind of just out on the Texans pass catchers for the most part. They're just not inspiring to me. I don't really believe in CJ Stroud supplying that much fantasy production. Their offensive line is still a big problem. Maybe they address it in the draft, but I'm just not that sold. I also think the Dave Montgomery trade indicates they're probably not going to be throwing the ball even more than last season. And it's a little crowded, especially if Tank Dell is indeed healthy. I think Tank Dell could be a big problem for Jaden Higgins. So if I'm going to draft a Texans wide receiver not named Nico Collins, give me Jalen Noel in the final round. Around 20, free. There's no risk at all. If he sucks, that's what you're paying for. Meanwhile, he could literally be exactly the same as Jaden Higgins in terms of production, maybe even better. And Higgins in round 11 carries, a lot of punishment if you're wrong. I think you can be very wrong about Jaden Higgins. Like, I'm not convinced he could be going pick 160, and it wouldn't be the more correct price tag. And at that point, what's the difference between 160 and 180? What's the difference between, minimal rounds when everything would be $1 if this was a auction draft? But I'm very tempted to get back in at quarterback, in all honesty. The one I like the most is Cam Ward. He has a lot of back stacking options too. And Khalil Shakir just doesn't speak to me. Not he just doesn't. So I'm going to take Cam Ward. We pushed our first quarterback a little bit late, and I do feel like with Brock Purdy and Tyler Shuck, I want a third for sure. There's the team with Jalen Hurts that only has one, and despite a lot of these teams around the corner having at least two and not being like so desperate for me to panic about it, I do consider Cam Ward the last valuable, like true starting caliber quarterback that will be mixing into your lineup on occasion. Like, if you're playing the waiver wire in your redraft league this year, Cam Ward's going to be a valuable name to pick up off of waivers periodically throughout the season. He's not going to be a lock week in, week out, but I do think he's going to have some spike week potential. I think the touchdown production of that offense is going to get fixed, and especially if they draft Jeremiah Love, I'd be much more excited about their overall offensive output. So love the coaching in Tennessee. Brian Dable, I think, will fix him to a certain extent. And then the Wandale acquisition, Ridley maybe being healthy. And then year two with Chimera DK and Ilika Yamanor, I do believe in Cam Ward's breakout. First overall pick for a reason, had amazing stats out of Miami, and I think he can deliver this late. He's the name I like the most. Highest upside quarterback, if you ask me. So that felt like a weakness just a few rounds ago. Now I feel completely safe and competitive with my quarterback room. Purdy, Chuck, and Cam Ward. We're going to have 3 bullets every week with a legit starter with upside. But there's also a lot of downsides with all 3. There's worlds where Cam Ward doesn't even crack 10 points in a few games. He will have some major stinkers as well. Shuck maybe doesn't take a year 2 leap. Maybe the league figures him out a little bit, and he's actually nowhere near as productive. But Shaheed makes it back. I'm going to do that. Going to continue to push tight end. I think the safest pick with the remaining names is Shaheed. I'll do that. Tempting to go Jonathan Brooks, but my running back room is not desperate at all. And while he is potentially a league winner, even if he is, he may not crack my lineup that often. Like, there's a world where he barely ever cracks my lineup, even if he is one of the best values at 152. So I'm willing to pass. Tight end is still a major weakness. I'm the last team in this lobby that hasn't drafted tight end. There's Barry, team 9, with only 1 tight end so far. They just took Chiego Okonkwo with Jaden Daniels. Goldie Flops has Kyle Pitts and no one else. And then Powerball just took his 2nd tight end with Dalton Schultz. He also has Trey McBride. But everybody else has 2, and I'm the only one with 0. Don't hate it. Not upset at all. But Mufasa says the big board 20-second clocks are back. That's awesome. That's good to know. And maybe I put up my poll. Maybe I put back the poll with that information. Hunter Henry goes. The falling price on Brenton Strange, I think, is worth scooping up. There's a really valuable running back I would kind of like to have on this team, but I'm going to push it one more time. I'm going to take Brenton Strange. Need to get at least some tight end production, and he's someone that could actually be like top 11, top 10 at the position this year. Definitely productive. We also have some other Jaguars in this team, so a nice consolidated bet. The team with Trevor Lawrence passed on Brenton Strange for Judy and Deebo Samuel. They only had Kyle Pitts. I think they might have messed up. They had CeeDee Lamb, Brian Thomas, Alec Pierce, Jaden Reed, Jaden Higgins, Omar Cooper. And instead of taking Brenton Strange with both picks, they took Judy and Debo. Debo, I'm fine with. The Judy click over Strange, I think, is unforgivable. I think Goldie Flops started off hot with Genty and CeeDee Lamb and has actually made some mistakes over the course of the draft. The 106 Kyle Pitts might save him, but the receiver room don't think you needed Judy instead of Brenton Strange. I really don't. But we're definitely doing a second draft. But if we can get to 40 likes, I'll do a third. Just a reminder, I'm going to set up a poll. That way, new people coming in don't have to say it every time. But if we get to 40 likes, we will do a third draft. We were 100% doing a second draft. But at 40 likes, we'll do a third. Brian Robinson goes, the player I almost took over Brenton Strange was going to be Keaton Mitchell. Keaton Mitchell there would have been a nice acquisition as our fifth running backs. Not someone that we would have had to rely on too much, but if he did pop, it would have been truly elite. And that's really the only upside I'm kind of interested in at running back going forward. But there's some really interesting prices here. However, I think it's time I get back in at running back. I kind of regret it. Like, in all honesty, there's maybe one of these receiver picks I kind of want to have back, because there's a way I could have played round 14, 15, and 16 in a way where I think I would have had all of the guys I wanted, and I may have messed up. But having Brenton Strange there at 162 was super valuable, pretty critical for my build, and it's just kind of like the nature of like pushing tight end as far as I did. But I wasn't going to draft Dalton Kincaid over McMillan. We missed out on Goddard. I wanted the quarterback combo with Cam Ward. Missed out on Juwan Johnson. I wanted Juwan Johnson for sure. The team with Olave sniped me. And Christian Kirk just went off at 179. So I think I fucked up. I wish I had Juwan Johnson and went with tight end instead of Shaheed. That way, I could have just taken a running back at round 14. And whether it was Keaton Mitchell, Brian Robinson, or Tank Bigsby, would have been super happy about that. Wanted one of them. And then in round 15, I could have taken Christian Kirk. Gunnar Helm also just got sniped, so a partner for Cam Ward is gone. Nice. And this war room maybe could have gone better for me. In all honesty, maybe that could have happened. However, Trey Harris still on the board. Fuck yeah. Kind of want to go Tyjae Spears, though. I think I will. The true upside of Tyjae is just like true league winning potential. So maybe they don't draft Jeremiah Love. Maybe they just get rid of Pollard and Tyjae's the handcuff. But Tyjae can catch a lot of passes, and maybe the guy above him just gets hurt. So that's our sixth running back. That is by far the strength of the team. Feels really strong and will carry me to a high advance rate. Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne, Baishal Tootin, Quinshon Judkins, Tank Bigsby, and Tyjae Spears. Our running back room is awesome. Wide receiver room has Amon-Ra, Zay Flowers, Parker Washington, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan, and Rashid Shaheed. Think it's good enough, but a little tricky. Tight end room still very thin with only Brenton Strange. I have 4 picks left, and I think it's 2 receivers, 2 tight ends. I think that's the way I'm going to fill this out. But being in the middle is sometimes very difficult. Sometimes you get great prices to fall, And then sometimes you just never get that to happen. And this felt like one of those lobbies where, in general, I wasn't getting that value. And then there were a couple options I had that I might have misplayed just badly enough where it cost me. Like, if I knew I wasn't getting Lamar back, I would not have taken Flowers. I would have taken Ibuka, and then we would have been maybe better set up to have our Baker Mayfield combo. So that might have been a better direction. We did not get Lamar to fall, so that never never happened. I have too many bucks, so I think I'm gonna go. Nah, I think I just need the points. Fuck it. I'm taking Kate Otten. Might be a little over-invested in Tampa Bay on this team without Baker. I have Godwin, McMillan, and Kate Otten. But just straight up, who I think gives me the most points at tight end is going to be the Bucks tight end, Kate Otten. I think he's one of the best values at the position. Should definitely be going at least over Mason Taylor and Eli Stowers. Stowers has a good athletic profile, but at the moment, Kate Otten is set for like 80 targets minimum. And that's kind of what we're hoping for Gunnar Helm this year. So I think you can take him over Gunnar Helm. Hawkinson, maybe not, but I think he's more appropriate in the Hawkinson, AJ Barner tier. Problem with him is that touchdowns can often evade him. Last year, only 1 touchdown and rarely ever goes over 4, but with Evans leaving, maybe that changes. And at the very least, he probably bounces back to his career average of roughly 4 touchdowns. Last year, only 1. I think he'll stay on the field long enough where that will increase this season. But BestBall, very valid suggestion. Maybe Jake Tonjes for the Purdy stack. I do think that's okay, but I don't know if it's critical. If I didn't get Kate Otten there, then I probably would. But I think I need someone that's going to be on the field like every week in general. And at the end of the season, that's where I think Tonjes is less valuable. All the money's made in this contest at the very tail end. Would have liked Jeremy Bernard there a lot. Would have loved it. And Njoku is still here. I will take Njoku. Pick 210. I'll take Njoku. Most talented, and I don't think he's done. But that might have been the wrong click. And honestly, that may have been the wrong decision there. But pushing tight end, I think, worked. I think Ingram and Dulcich over Njoku is incorrect. I still think Njoku will be playing next season. And he's just waiting until after the draft to make sure he doesn't have to compete with, like, Kenyon Sadiq or Eli Stowers. So I think those are the only 2 that he's not excited to compete with. Max Clare, maybe. Michael Trigg, maybe. Those are the only 4 I think have any potential to be relevant in fantasy this year at tight end. But Terrence Ferguson might be a better click. Freiermuth might be a better click. And then as BestBall 210 was saying, maybe even Tonjes was a better click for my team, given I had Brock Purdy. But the value, I think, was worth it. I think he's the best talent available there. But we got 2 rounds left. We do have Tyler Shuck. Vele already got taken. That's a bummer. Jeremy got sniped by 1 pick. That sucked. And then Elijah Surratt now off the board at 217. I think that's a good value too. Surratt is probably the most league-ready name this late. And I think he's an excellent value. So we'll see who's available. But the name I want maybe isn't the wisest decision. Because I already have 2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm not sure if I need 2 Seattle Seahawks. But I do think Torrey Horton is the best talent left on the board for me. So that is what I will do. Let's just make the bet against Cooper Kupp. And we're going to have, similar to the Buccaneers situation, kind of a ping pong in terms of touchdowns for Rashid Shaheed and Torrey Horton. I'm fine having both, but this is a risky wide receiver room. At least I got Amon-Ra St. Brown to make me feel safe with it. But okay, yeah. Looks like we can do a 20-second big board, 100%. After this click, I'm just going to move on. We'll remind you what the players are right now, but I don't think we're going with Chris Bell. Koala really, really likes this team. I think we're in business. Our running back room is just so fucking awesome that it keeps us in business. And then in this smaller field contest, I'm also not upset that I didn't get the stacks I wanted. I'm really not upset at all. But this last click, I think, just has to be a receiver. 100%, no questions asked. I think that's the only thing I can afford to tack on here. My quarterback room has Brock Purdy, Tyler Shuck, and Cam Ward. So the only stack I can really think of right now is like Demarcus Robinson, who is under contract with the Niners. I'm not going to do that. Shuck, we need to bet on a rookie. And then Cam Ward, I think best case scenario, we got David Njoku with Cam Ward. But Yamanor is off the board. He was taken right before my Torrey Horton selection. And then running back room is awesome with Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne, Baishal Tootin, Quinshon Judkins, Bigsby, and Tyjae Spears. I'm on the clock. I could mix in Jacoby Lane, Slayton. I think Tyquan Thornton makes the most sense. That's who I'm taking. I'm taking Tyquan Thornton, Kansas City Chiefs receiver. But we did go cheap on tight end and quarterback, and I don't hate it. Our full receiver room has Amon-Ra St. Brown, Zay Flowers, Parker Washington at a nice discount pick 79. We never got that Trevor Lawrence stack to fall, so that didn't work out. We did get sniped a bunch in this one. We took Godwin and got sniped on Baker Mayfield. That team did not get Jalen McMillan. Tell you that. The Baker drafter did not get Godwin or McMillan, at least. Those are two excellent values, if you ask me. Rashid Shaheed at 151. Nice falling value. That was awesome. And then we got Torrey Horton at 223. So those are the two really valuable Seahawks I think are worth drafting as well. The Darnold drafter didn't get them. But Cooper Kupp throws a big wrench in that. Maybe I'm wrong with those picks. At least the Shaheed one I like a lot. But Horton I still believe in. And then final round we go Tyquan Thornton. And then we pushed tight end significantly, but we got Brenton Strange at a nice value pick, 162. Would have been awesome had we gotten Trevor Lawrence, but we didn't. I also took another Tampa Bay Buccaneer with Kate Otten at 199. That's an awesome value. And then David Njoku continued to fall, pick 210. We got really nice values. I think our tight end room is fine. There's no issue with the tight end room. We got 3. We're chilling. Our running back room is just elite. Elite running backs in terms of depth and potential. The Tyjae Spears 186, Tank Bigsby, those two aren't really going to do much until they pop. Our top 4 are awesome. Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne, Baishal Tootin, and Quinshon Judkins pick 66. At the very least, this is also a very unique combo. I don't think anybody else going to have this 4 running back pairing. This combination of 4 running backs, I think, is extremely difficult to acquire. And if you do have it, it's going to be at the expense of this Zay Flowers pick. It's going to be because someone took Tootin above ADP and then Quinshon Judkins in the 5th. Doubtful that most teams who have Quinshon Judkins are getting him as late as I did. So I was happy about this. Receiver, I think, works just fine. Quarterback, also just fine. And then tight end, we lucked out. It's also chilling. So I like the team. We got pick 7. Not the easiest spot in the world, but I think it worked. And if everything is correct, we can get back in on this big board. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. This is my 100th big board. And if we hit 40 likes by the end of it, we will do a 3rd draft. This is my 2nd draft of the stream. So we will be hopping in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's get it in. And 1 spot left. Hope you got it. Maybe you didn't. But at 411, we did get pick 12. We got pick 12. Not a common spot that I'm drafting. If anything, I can get weird with it. And that's fun. but Delusional Vikings fan wanted Betch. I could see a world where he breaks out. There was a week where I was actually convinced that maybe, just maybe, he was coming alive with Kenny Pickett. Let's pull up Jack Betch's game log real fast. There's 1 week that you can point to that's actually a little inspiring. Because if we recall, Jack Betch is only 23 years old. He was the 58th overall pick in last year's draft. Didn't do shit, though. Had only 224 yards as a rookie, not a single touchdown, 29 targets, 20 catches, and he did play 16 games, so not exciting at all. But this week against the Denver Broncos at home is the only inspiring stat line that you can find. 6 targets, 6 catches, 50 yards, but again, no touchdowns. That was with Kenny Pickett. And then the following week, he did jack fucking shit. 2 for 17 against the Eagles. So I'm not convinced he's valuable, my friend. I'm not convinced. They did pay Jalen Naylor for a reason, but they also had a lot of cap space. Nobody really wants to go to the Raiders in the first place, so I think that's one of the reasons why they paid him so much. But I've not clicked Jack Betch. I'm not going to lie to you. I've not clicked Jack Betch. But you could see him and Mendoza developing a connection. It's possible. I could also see them maybe just drafting Elijah Surratt or Omar Cooper. Cooper's not going to be there in the second, so doubtful that happens. But if Elijah Surratt is available at the top of the second round, I could also see that happen. But this is also fair. You also don't know what the fuck you're going to get in Las Vegas, so it might be his ascension to alpha. Naylor's a fine compliment, but not a main guy. They paid Naylor a lot, though. I still believe in Dante Thornton a little bit, not going to lie. I still think Dante Thornton could maybe have an interesting deep threat role, but he's only running go routes, not doing much. Jack Betch definitely has a little bit more capability, but he's not inspiring. I'll tell you that. I'm not inspired by Jack Betch. But Amon-Ra goes, so this will be a running back click for sure. And Hampton will be one of them. I shit you not, Hampton is 100% one of these clicks. And then the other one is going to be Ashton Genty. We're going to go with a Ashton Genty, Omarion Hampton. Year 2 breakout is what we're betting on for these 2 first-round picks. In what might end up looking like a potentially historic draft class at the running back position. I think this year we're going to have a lot of really, really strong year 2 breakouts. And that class is deep. That class is kind of loaded. This class sucks. The class before it sucked as well. And I expect a lot of production out of the year 2 running backs this year. The ones that were drafted in last year's draft are going to pop. But we are on to draft 2. Time to pack the bowl once again, and we will have a smoke break in just a few minutes. I'm gonna grind it while this draft is rolling. But Koala Quantum coming in with a hot take saying DeAndre Swift should be going no later than the 3rd round. I see him as a 4th rounder, maybe early 5th. I think he's one of the safest running backs available in the 5th round. But if you're right, I will be super, super happy because I'll pull this up in an extra window and then I'll bring it in for the live stream. I'll show you my exposure on DeAndre Swift, and I think you'll be excited. I think so. Where is it? Here we go. This is my exposure, my friend. DeAndre Swift is my 5th most drafted running back, tied with Rico Dowdle and Omarion Hampton at the moment. And we just took Hampton, so I guess he would currently rank 6th, but I might be taking him in this draft. So he might be still tied for 5th. But very heavy investment in DeAndre Swift. I've taken him 23 times in over 120 drafts, 18.5% of the time. And I think he's a phenomenal value. I don't really understand why he's falling very much. So I think you could be right, but that's rather bold. I think a more reasonable take is that he's a 4th round value, but that was your hot take. So 100%, very, very legit, but almost 20%. Almost 20%. I like DeAndre Swift a lot in round 5. But his ceiling is legitimate RB1. I believe, if my memory is correct, he finished as running back 14 last season. And he has not had injury problems since he left the Lions. Since he played with the Eagles and the Bears, he has not missed really any time. If he has, it's like only been like 1 game in those seasons. Swift is actually staying rather healthy in the latter portion of his career. That was a big problem for him early on. He could not stay on the field. But he's really talented. I like him a lot. And I just don't get the Kyle Monangai price. The Kyle Monangai truthers are what's keeping the price low on DeAndre Swift, and I think they're wrong. Now, there is potential that Swift does not survive the draft. They could be bringing in somebody else that could pose a problem, but we almost got T. Higgins there. That would have been nice. I'm taking Igbuka. I think Igbuka is vehemently the correct decision. And then ADP would have me taking Garrett Wilson. Igbuka 100%. And you know what? I'm willing to do that. I don't have much Garrett Wilson. I'm willing to take him. I believe like this is my 4th click of Garrett Wilson, and I think all 3 of the other teams have him paired up with like Justin Jefferson. Like oddly, every time I've taken Garrett Wilson, I've remembered also having Justin Jefferson on the team. So the very least that'll be different. Any roster of mine with Garrett Wilson is going to be unique for the sake of my combos. So we got Breece Hall on the thumbnail. We did not get the Jet running back. We got the Jet wide receiver, and I think that's a safer bet, in all honesty. I think when he's on the field, Garrett Wilson will be more valuable to your lineup, especially on Underdog when you have to start 3 wide receivers compared to Breece Hall. I think our Jets rankings are incorrect. And it's not that Garrett Wilson, his price is incorrect. I think he's going at a fair value. I think Breece Hall is going maybe a full round, maybe even a round and a half too early. I think he's like a 45 to pick 52 overall pick. I think he should be going at the 4 or 5 turn to the teams drafting 1 through 4. Like where Travion Henderson just went, I think is where Breece Hall should be going. He's just not that valuable. His highest value, I'll give him this. If he gets traded at the deadline, that is where he is most valuable. Because whenever a player leaves the Jets, they play so much better. Everyone that's left the Jets gets much better. And I know people believe in Geno Smith, but he's returning to the Jets. He's going to get so much worse. Geno Smith is going to be dog shit as he returns to the Jets. Everything he learned, every glimmer of hope that he's given you since leaving the Jets will just disappear as soon as he steps back on the field at MetLife. But we are ready. We have a bowl packed. Let's fade the music out for a brief moment. If you have something to join me, if you're ready, smoke it if you got it. I'll see you on the other side. Cheers, my friend. Cheers to you. But Manungai and Corum are like the same player. Kind of. I actually think Corum is better. I think Corum is the more valuable of the two. But I will say this. One of my best moments last year, I think, for helping your fantasy team, among several others, it wasn't the only good moment, but I did have a moment when I saw DeAndre Swift was going to miss the game. And on like a Thursday afternoon, in very rapid fashion, I posted, add Kyle Manungai immediately. Pick him up immediately. And that was the week where he had like 30 touches and over 200 yards. That was an excellent call by yours truly. Just reading the reports. Some of y'all already had him on the roster. Y'all knew what you were doing. All right, but here, we're going to take DeAndre Swift, and then I'm also going to take Jaden Daniels. I'll take an unstacked Jaden Daniels. At the bookend, I don't want to be boxed in at quarterback. We see Joe Burrow already go off the board here. That team has Burrow, Caleb Williams, with T. Higgins, Luther Burden. Had a team very similar to this with PPR Tyler yesterday, but we drafted it at the 4 slot, and we had Jamar Chase and Rome Odunze stacked up with Joe Burrow and Caleb Williams in the 6th and 7th round. So in this lobby, Burrow went 59, Caleb went 62. We had, in my opinion, the better stack to have, Jamar Chase with Burrow and Rome Odunze with Caleb. I believe that is more valuable than Higgins and Burden. And then we also got the better values at QB at 69 and 76. We got a phenomenal team yesterday. But the most valuable of those guys will be the one who gets to play more due to injury. They're pretty much the same otherwise. Is this in regards to the Jets? Or is this in regards to I think this is what we're talking about. Yeah. 100% Young Moolah. Injury will decide their fate. But from a talent perspective, from who I think has more of a share of the workload week 1, I think Blake Corum is going to be more involved in the Rams offense as opposed to Manungai in the Bears offense. If I can only have one of the two, I'll take Blake Corum. And at the moment, Kyle Manungai is going over Blake Corum. Doesn't really make sense in my opinion. Delusional Vikings fan agrees, says Corum is better, more explosive bursts, and much more exciting college stats. I'll tell you that. If you look at Blake Corum's college potential, 27 touchdowns his senior year at Michigan. Blake Corum is a monster on the goal line, or at least he can be if the coach commits to using him that way. Absolute dog at Michigan. Manungai, didn't he go to Rutgers? If I'm not mistaken, I might be wrong. I think he went to Rutgers. But if you're watching, this is our second draft of the live stream. If you're interested in a third, we set a high like goal. Not going to lie. The like goal is a little bit high. 40 likes for a third draft. We have 33 watching. I'll let you know. Even if we just hit 33, I'll probably do a third draft. If we hit 33 likes, I'll probably do a third. Because this contest is about to fill. So the other day we had only one live. I believe that was on Saturday. And I had some plans after. I didn't really want to do another draft. So we didn't hit it. And I was actually kind of grateful. But in this one, I actually want to do a third. So in all honesty, the like goal is really at 33. But yeah, if you would like to see a third draft, hit that like button. Damn, Jackson Dart's still here? I think I might do that. Michael Wilson also on the board. But I will take my second quarterback also in the same division. Doesn't need to be stacked up. But then here, yeah, I'll just take the falling value of Michael Wilson. Sorry for everyone waiting for me to make both picks, but maybe IMAX11 is listening. They just took Blake Corum at 83. Maybe they thought I would scoop that up. But sorry to the team with Neighbors. You're not going to get him back. I take Jackson Dart unstacked. And then we get a really good fallen value on Michael Wilson, a third quarterback option with Jacoby Brissett. But Michael Wilson is either like an elite pick or he's a really bad pick. With Harrison, I think he's like slightly a slightly better pick than where he's going, or he's like a really bad pick. So Wilson, I think, has the higher upside of the two. And I don't have many shares of Michael Wilson. So if he can actually live up to what he did last year, then this is an awesome, awesome selection. But that's the thing. He needs like 12 targets to do that. There were stretches last year where Michael Wilson was getting endless targets. This is a much different offense, I think, in terms of what they ideally want to go for. Their running back options were null and void last season. So the strength I have on this team so far was running back. Now it's quarterback, I would say. Our running back and quarterback room is very strong. Two high upside rushing options that don't need to be stacked up, but do have some good later round values that I can acquire. But tight end at the moment, there's an insane value right now. There's no way he makes it back. But if you're reading the board, if you don't see him, then you know who I'm talking about. And that team with Bowers just passed again. And we are officially round 9 Tucker Kraft. That's insane. Goes Brock Purdy, Casey Concepcion. That team has Harvey, Bo Nix, and J.K. Dobbins. Did not have a tight end. That baffles me. So that would indicate I'm probably getting a good value, but it's not going to be on him. There's no effing chance that happens. Kraft finally goes to fucking alpha, living up to his name. Has Loveland and Tucker Kraft to pick 100. Damn. What a good value. So watch out for Team 4. They got JSN London, Achan Henderson, Travion in the 4th. Loveland in the 5th. Awesome value there. Drake May with Travion has Jordan Tyson 76, Algier 93, and then Tucker Kraft 100. I don't blame him for passing on Kraft the first time. Getting that third running back valuable. Maybe not necessary, but valuable. And then the supreme value on Kraft. Fucking awesome. But Laporta does go right there. And let's make PPR Tyler proud. At 108, Kyle Pitts here, I think, is a no-brainer. For sure a value. And then he also really likes Michael Pittman. So we'll take both top of ADP, pretty basic clicks, but I think just necessary for the sake of our team. We have 2 quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels and Jackson Dart. 3 running backs, Omarion Hampton, Ashton Genty, DeAndre Swift. I know Genty has a higher ADP, but I did not want Genty at the top of this running back room. We have Hampton at the top of this running back room. Genty is the RB2. That is how I see it. DeAndre Swift, our RB3, right at his new ADP pick 60, I think a fucking steal. Egbuka, Garrett Wilson, Michael Wilson, and Michael Pittman Jr. We have both Wilsons. Wilson! We got both of them. We can afford to leave the ball floating in the ocean. But delusional Vikings fan. Yep. Manungai is sort of the Emmett Johnson of last year's draft class. That's an interesting take. I mean, if that's the case, then Emmett Johnson is going to be contributing in a pretty solid way. But Emmett Johnson's probably a backup as well. War Room, no, we're going to try to get in as many big boards as we can because this thing is about to fill. This thing is at 98%. So our next draft, if we do one, will 100% be a big board. We did the War Room at the top of this draft. If you want to watch that one, we had pick 7 in the War Room earlier in this live stream. But Dart feels like an insanely good price. To get him here 84 in the 7th feels very valuable. I could see Justin Herbert being a better click. I could see Lawrence maybe being a better click. Maybe in like the best case scenario, Goff is even better. But in terms of unstacked rushing upside, for me to have Jaden Daniels and Jackson Dart feels very, very strong. Out of the 12 slot, in general, when you're in the 12, you get screwed at this position. You are left hanging in terms of viable options. So I got ahead of that with Daniels, and then we got rewarded with Jackson Dart to circle back. The Neighbors team was so far on this side, and they decided to stack up Parker Washington instead of Malik Neighbors. With all due respect to Parker Washington, I don't understand that. I don't see why Neighbors is your wide receiver 2, and you're more excited to stack up Trevor Lawrence with your wide receiver 4. But I suppose Dart has a lot of injury risk. Dart has maybe the lowest floor of the tier where he goes. There's a world where Jackson Dart is like just missing so much time that he finishes the season as like quarterback, 17, 20 potentially, just because he misses so many games. But I really don't think that's going to happen. I think John Harbaugh is going to find a way to mitigate some of that recklessness. But I also got Kyle Pitts in this lobby at 108. That feels awesome. And then Pittman was also a big faller. Pittman at 110, basically, the 10th round. That's a no-brainer click. That I could not pass on. Maybe Jaden Reed is better. Maybe Quentin Johnston is better, but I don't think anybody else is vehemently better than Michael Pittman, who went after him. So pushed receiver a little bit, got rewarded. Yeah, got some really interesting falls. These last 4 rounds, I have been rewarded. So who knows what's going to happen? Let's take a look at the ADP. And Rachaad White's still there. Damn. Rachaad White? The moment he's the Commanders' RB1, if they avoid Jeremiah Love, he's huge value. Stacks up with Jaden Daniels. Can't think of a reason not to take him. Receiver might need something, though. Could go Denzel, Boston. But no. I'm going to take Isaiah Likely. ADP 140, not going to circle back. This is where we finally reach on someone. And I know we're going to make young Moolah happy. But this, I think, is critical here. Really just cementing, like, the true upside of the Jackson Dart pick. We don't have Neighbors, but we have Isaiah Likely. And there we go. But Delusional Vikings fan says, fuck no. QJ is not a better click than Pittman. Last year he was. He was last year. It's possible. I passed on Quentin Johnston. I also have a lot of Quentin Johnston. I had a lot of Quentin Johnston when he was going earlier. Do I regret the Quentin Johnston investment? Of course I do. But at the moment, the Chargers receivers have survived free agency. The Chargers still have a lot of cap space, so that's with an asterisk. They might bring back Keenan Allen. That's rumored to happen. They could bring in Deebo Samuel, Tyreek Hill. There's worlds where Quentin Johnston's just dog shit. Even if Trey Harris breaks out, I think Quentin Johnston could be dog shit. However, he's in a contract year. He could also get traded somewhere that might need him a bit more than the Chargers. And then even if he is with the Chargers, they got Mike McDaniel, they got Justin Herbert. Their offense can drop 30 plus points. Their offense going to be fucking humming this year. You want pieces of the Chargers. So as he falls, I think Quentin Johnston is a very valid player to scoop up. If his new price is in the 110s, I will be drafting him like crazy in the next contest. I had him a lot in the 80s, and I thought he wasn't terrible there. But I had him stacked up with Herbert consistently, and then I had way too much, and I was like, oh, fuck. I can't draft Quentin Johnston anymore. That was... I got carried away early on in the contest with Quentin Johnston. But how we doing? Who Hames? I assume Who Hames just finished his live stream in the last probably 20 minutes. I don't know how long it's been since I've checked the chat. But Michael Wilson and Parker Washington could be top 20 receivers or be busts. Yeah, both of those are huge gambles. At least I got a nice fall on Michael Wilson, but not convinced he was the right click there. I almost pulled up Romeo Doubs. I would have been happy with Wan'Dale Robinson. The team behind me pulled him up as well. Love the Wan'Dale click. Jacoby Myers, I think, could also be more productive than Parker Washington. I don't think that's impossible. Ricky Pearsall fell to 103. Godwin at 104, I think, is also in contention for the 8th round. But just the nature of where we were, we did get Pittman to fall back at 108, 109. That was really nice. That was very, very valuable. But Rashad stacking up with Jaden feels really good. Our receiver room, though, is like either going to carry me and just deliver because like they're actually like really good and I've been underestimating them. I have not clicked Garrett Wilson, Michael Wilson, or Michael Pittman very often. We got double Michael and double Wilson. The Michael Wilson squared, if you will. Paired with Emeka Egbuka. At least I have Egbuka. We're good with Egbuka. But what's up, Lolsimo? How you doing? Hope you're having a good afternoon. That feels like really good start. That Pitts pick is going to be a good value. Stefanski should help him a lot. I'm in agreement. This team feels very strong despite maybe some major red flags at wide receiver. But you got to draft like you're right. Almost took Brandon Ayuk, honestly. Was very close to taking Brandon Ayuk. I think we're going to take Chig. I think we're going to call it a day at tight end. I think Chig is a solid click here. And then I could make a major mistake and grab Jacoby Brissett, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take Deebo Samuel because I think I just need wideout. Would be shocked if he returned to Washington. I suppose maybe he could go to the Giants. I really doubt it. I don't think they have the money to do that. I think he could go to the Ravens. I also think he could go to the Chargers. I think Deebo Samuel is more desirable on the open market than Juwan Jennings is. I think Deebo, after the draft, will sign faster than Juwan. Joanna. But I think JCM will be in the Bucky Irving role, and Rashad White will be the change of pace RB2 with McNichols. I think Rashad will be definitely more locked into the pass catching role, but I'm also not convinced that JCM will keep him off the field very much. I think as long as they don't draft Jeremiah Love, I believe Rashad White will have the most snaps at RB1, just on the field, I guess, in Washington. I do not believe that JCM will overtake him. I do not think JCM is that good where he can even survive competition via the draft. Like, even if they don't take JCM, let's say they take Damon Claiborne in like the 5th, 6th round. I think Claiborne could beat out JCM. That's not a lock to happen, but I think it could. I think Katron Allen could be a problem for Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. They brought in Jerome Ford. That could even be a problem. But that would be fun, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Who? Devon Claiborne in Washington? That'd be super fun. That's like a best case scenario. They pass on Jeremiah Love, or no, they just get sniped on Jeremiah Love, and then they wait till like round 6 and Devon Claiborne beats out JCM. That'd be super fun. But who knows? There's really a bunch of different outcomes. But Koala says Godwin was super, super inefficient last year coming off that injury. I'm scared of him. He is a second year removed, though. A little extra time to recover. So that's maybe in his favor. But I'm not too panicked. In fact, I'm not panicked at all. In fact, we're going to blow some smoke. That's what we're going to do. But so far, the running backs who come off the board aren't names I was like dying to have. So for a round and a half, we've kind of survived. And who knows, maybe I get both of the names that I want here. We're done at tight end. We got a super strong tight end room. We had Kyle Pitts, Isaiah Likely, and Chig Okonkwo fucking living at tight end. Our quarterback room is very nice with Jaden Daniels, Jackson Dart. Some injury risk for sure, but top 5 upside with both every single week. Running back room, phenomenal up top with Hampton and Genty. Hampton is better than Genty. At least this year he will be. And then DeAndre Swift as our RB3, Rachaad White, the RB4, and at least one of the 2 running backs that I want. I think I'm getting both. But a little tempting to take a Darnell Mooney here. I'm taking Tank Bigsby for sure. 100% I'm taking Tank Bigsby. And yeah, I will do it. I will be done at running back with this Emmett Johnson click. Pick 181. Fuck yeah. My RB6 is Emmett Johnson. Fuck yeah. Like, this is one of the best running back rooms possible. The only problem, though, is, like, I could easily have this combo in another draft I've done in, like, mid-February where you just flip the Emmett Johnson and, like, Rachaad White clicks. Like, put Emmett Johnson where I took Rachaad White. Put Chig Okonkwo where I just took Emmett Johnson. And then put Rachaad White where I drafted Chig Okonkwo. Like just rotate those 3 picks, and it's a team that I could almost very easily have had like a month ago as well. So at the very least, there's clarity and like order to the decision making. It wasn't just like a random luck that fell into my lap with the Okonkwo stack, but this team feels pretty good. And Debo, for him to be going in round 14, I think is one of the best values. Diggs went in the 13th round in this one. We got Debo after Ayuk. Like, really? I'll take Debo after Ayuk. But had Debo not been there, I would have probably taken Ayuk with the hope that he's a Washington Commander. Did I do you proud, Who Hames? Not only did I get my guy Tank Bigsby, I also got your boy Emmett Johnson, who by the nature of my best ball shares, I guess also qualifies as one of mine as well. Emmett Johnson's still my 3rd most drafted running back. Now that he's fallen down the board this much, I've scooped him up. I'm not letting him go past 181. But JCM's yard per carry and yards after contact last year were really good. I'm not sure they want him off the field unless he fumbles more. Well, Chris Rodriguez kept him off the field. You know, like maybe Chris Rodriguez is just that good, but he had so many chances to be a dominant snap share guy, and he just couldn't do it. But he also has house call capability, especially like from like 30 yards out. That's like kind of a sweet spot for JCM. I watched it happen. I saw him have like his best game of the season in person against the Chargers, but the Chargers could not defend the run. Like both of his fucking touchdowns were untouched. They didn't get a hand on JCM on both of his house calls. It was egregious. And I think it's because they were tired from a lot of travel. They went to Brazil, they went to Las Vegas, then played their first home game. Then they went to New York. They played the Giants in New Jersey and lost. Then they came home, and then I think they played, I think that was indeed the first game I went to. I think that was week 5 against the Commanders. They sucked in the run defense. Then they went to Miami, won that game close, and they came back. I watched them lose to the Colts in person, and they also could not stop the run. I think also travel and fatigue might have factored in. Like all those early road trips may have led to like Joe Alt getting hurt, maybe Hampton getting hurt. Travel was literally like the worst in the league for the Chargers last season. So if their schedule has a lot less travel, I would also expect major upgrades in some of their production just from that aspect alone. With the LA Chargers. But I'm going to go Elijah Surratt for sure on this one. We just got sniped on Jeremy Bernard. That was in the plan. And then while Pat Freiermuth is tempting, our tight end room is really good, doesn't need it. Michael Penix is the only option at quarterback with Kyle Pitts, but I will take him. I will take Michael Penix. There is enough injury concern with Jaden Daniels and Jackson Dart where I do think the third quarterback is valuable, and there's too much draft capital invested in Michael Penix where they're just not going to give up on him. I expect him to be on the field at least at some point mid-season. Once he's healthy, they're not going to keep him off the field forever because I don't think Tua is going to be good enough to have them at 8-4, 8-3. I don't expect that. So I think by the time we hit like week 10 and the Falcons are like 5-5, once they drop to 5-6, Penix will get the job for the remainder of the season. There's a world where he sucks so bad that he's only given like 3 or 4 games and then they go back to Tua. But I don't think Tua will be good enough to where Michael Penix cannot compete. But there is a major uphill battle for Michael Penix. Not going to lie. I could also see Tua suffering a concussion, and Michael Penix is just forced to be the guy for the final 6 weeks. That's also possible. But with the Kyle Pitts selection, 100% justified. And then he's really the last like viable bet where you can lock in some starts. There's really nobody after Michael Penix who you can lock in some starts. Like the other than Shador, but you really want the Cleveland Browns? I don't. It's not correlated on my roster. Not at all. Kyle Pitts is. And who knows? Maybe Debo also goes to the Falcons. I think that's an interesting spot for a wide receiver too. Maybe it's Elijah Surratt. Maybe we are also just drafted the Falcons wide receiver too. But these last 2 picks, nobody's going to be surprised. I need wide receiver. Our running back room is great. Omarion Hampton, Ashton Genty, DeAndre Swift, Rashad White, Tank Bigsby, and Emmett Johnson. Quarterback has Jaden Daniels, Jackson Dart, Michael Penix. And then wide receiver has Egbuka, Garrett Wilson, Michael Pittman, Deebo Samuel, and Elijah Surratt. So that's really going to decide the fate of this team. And we're drafting as if they are the names I need. They are drafting as if that is correct. But the Pittman selection, I think, really saved this roster. Had I been forced into taking Jaden Reed or Quentin Johnston, I would not feel anywhere safe enough. And that is kind of why I felt the luxury to sort of push receiver overall. Like, we did take Deebo and Surratt, didn't push it too much, but I did go 3 straight picks without one. I went around another turn without a receiver. Avoided the stack with Darnell Mooney. That might have cost me, but I don't think so. The lobbies these days are just much sharper, though, at the wide receiver position. I'm not going to lie. They're a lot sharper than they once were. Tight end arguably has just never not been valuable. Always maintained value. I'm interested to see where someone like Kelsey finally goes in the next contest period. But with these last picks, I'll take a shot that Dontavian Wicks is going to get traded. I think he's got some upside, spike week potential. We took Tyquan Thornton in the last one, so I don't think I'm going to do that. I've been trying to mix in a few more Keenan Allen teams as of late. Just a few. I also like Jalen Noel. I almost never take Cooper Kupp, so maybe I should take him for once. We could go Calvin Austin. There's also Darius Slayton. I'm going to go Darius Slayton. Nobody really ever takes Darius Slayton that much. Maybe Calvin Austin was the better stacking partner, but I actually have a different team with Calvin Austin and Jackson Dart. This one, we're going to go Darius Slayton. The Keenan Allen pick might have been correct, though. I'm starting to come around that Keenan is actually someone that maybe you should take at the end of your draft. But this team I really like. I'm really excited about this team as well. Our first one was pretty interesting, but it was not this strong at the quarterback position, especially out of pick 12. This feels like a pretty ideal scenario out of the 12 slot. But we got Jaden Daniels, Jackson Dart, Michael Penix Jr., and all 3 of them are stacked up with our tight ends. We have the Falcons, Giants, and Commanders stack as well at tight end. Really strong tight end room. A good value on Kyle Pitts, 108. Isaiah Likely we pulled up at 133, and then we took Okonkwo at 156. Running back feels very strong. Good depth as well, with some high upside across the board with Omarion Hampton, Ashton Genty in that order, DeAndre Swift, Rashad White stacked up with Tank Bigsby and Emmett Johnson. Emmett Johnson, 181. Feels fucking awesome. And then receiver, we're just betting that these are the names that you need. Egbuka, I firmly believe is. I think Egbuka is the best wide receiver click in the 4th round. I actually believe Egbuka deserves 3rd round draft capital. I think he is more valuable than Tedero McMillan. I will plant my flag on that alone. Egbuka over Tet McMillan is how I'm going to rank it moving forward. Garrett Wilson should pay off. If I'm only taking one jet, it's Garrett Wilson. Michael Wilson at a good value, pick 85. Don't take him too often either. Michael Pittman also kind of low owned for me, but 9 picks past ADP. Perhaps the savior of this team. I did not stack him up with Aaron Rodgers, though. Deebo Samuel, 157. Super happy about his fall in value. I expect him to play like him on this roster. Elijah Surratt at 204 has fallen too far. He will be drafted in the 2nd round, probably to a team ready to use him. I think he will contribute this season. Dontavian Wicks with some trade rumors. Maybe someone we're going to be drafting a lot more in the next contest periods post-draft. But at least spike week potential, even if that doesn't happen. Romeo Doubs is gone. Maybe Matthew Golden does suck. And maybe Christian Watson or Jaden Reed get hurt again. There's actually a lot of outs for Dontavian Wicks, and he is pretty talented. Darius Slayton, though, could be ass. We get him stacked up with Jackson Dart, however, and he is a good spike week, deep touchdown type of guy that's still getting paid a decent amount. But perhaps Calvin Austin was the better direction. Maybe, just maybe. That was wiser. But like Mufasa says, tight end room is nasty with that Kyle Pitts, Isaiah Likely, Chigo Okonkwo quarterback stack. But yeah, this team is really fun. And whenever you feel really confident at 3 positions like I do, there's going to be one that you just have to have made the correct bets. And at a pick 12 for wide receiver to still feel this good, I think this team is pretty exciting. So pick 12 paid off, and we're at 35 likes. I'm not gonna lie, I'm doing one more because this contest is about to fill. We liked fucking Alpha's team. He finished with Drake May, Tyler Shuck, and Tua, Travis Etienne, Travion Henderson, Tyler Algier, Tony Pollard, Ray Davis, and Katron Allen. Almost had a complete T-name running back room. Went with 4 straight running backs whose first initial is T. That's a good sign. But then JSN, Drake London, Jordan Tyson, Jawan Jennings, Stephon Diggs, Kayshon Boutte, Christian Kirk, Trey Tucker, Keenan Allen. Awesome wide receiver room on this one. And then has the Colston Loveland at a value, pick 52, with Tucker Kraft to pick 100. Played it exceptionally well. Damn. I am envious of fucking Alpha's team. Awesome team. Think it's going to go far. I think this is a team to watch out for sure. Otherwise, I don't know if I recognized anybody in this draft with me. Shout it out if you would like a team review, but I think we're just going to move on and just do a third draft. I'm not going to pretend like I don't want to. So, I'm kind of, what is the fill rate on this contest at the moment? Is it indeed still 98%? The big board is sitting at 98.3. And this will be my 101st draft. I did one in Goofy Chicken's lobby yesterday on his stream, so it didn't quite count for the live. I will be hopping in 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm joining. And there's only one spot left, so y'all, I believe, synced it up properly. But I'm sure these lobbies are just filling super fucking fast, given where it is in the fill rate. But we have pick 5, so probably not going to get one of the true premium top tier options. I think there's the top 4 and then everyone else. But there's a world where Puka and JSN are actually much closer together. So I'm more inclined to just go JSN at 5 at this point in time. But I see Libra 05 in here. We got DC Boy. We were drafting with DC Boy yesterday. We're drafting with you. So you are in here at the 4 slot. Super nice bros. We got another nice in the username. He got pick 1. Good for him. And then Delusional Vikings fan is in at the 106. Poker Toker. Oh, no, he's Julio. That's Julio. Good to know. Thank you for shouting that out. Good luck to you, my friend. But I probably won't be advertising who I want. Right before our long-term picks. But I Love Nosaka. We've definitely drafted with I Love Nosaka as well. Should we do one more? Yeah, let's clear the pipe. Let's clear the pipe, Crossface. Right after this pick. That would be awesome. That'd be really awesome. I think there's a world where he's also in Washington as well. But the Falcons also on the board for that. Let's see what you do. JSN, so we do get Puka. All right. Let's go. Pick 5 with Puka Nacua. Happy with that. I'm actually kind of underweight on Puka. Not going to lie. Haven't gotten top 4 picks very often, and when I do, I'm trying to take Jamar Chase over Puka. So I actually am a little thin on Puka Nacua. But this will definitely be the last draft. The fact that we had 22 people saying yes to the poll, even though we didn't hit 40, we're still doing a third. Julio goes CMC over Taylor. I don't hate that at all. I would say Taylor is safer, but CMC definitely has the higher upside. For the sake of best ball, CMC over Taylor makes sense. You know it, Crossface. We are in officially the third draft of the evening. If anything, I need the music back. I didn't realize the music was off. I apologize. We're going to mix it up. We're going to give the other soundtrack a go this time. And then maybe midway through this lobby, if we get to 40 likes, maybe we'll go back to the other music. But I apologize, the music's been off. I did not notice that. My bad. Nice and blunt. If it wasn't the last day of the contest, then I definitely wouldn't do a third, especially given that first one was also a war room. But I always intended to do 2 big boards on the live. That 8-hour clock did mess with me. We were taking running back 100%. I will take Derrick Henry. Absolutely. If anything, at this point, it's become part of the ritual of doing these drafts. If I'm going to be live streaming, if I'm going to be drafting on Underdog, it just comes with the territory. We're also going to be smoking. At times, we do take a break, but we already got that out of the way back in February. And at the moment, especially as we approach 420, it seems fitting. But Hartman's in the chat. What's up, bro? How you doing? Thank you for coming on Monday. Had a blast. Those are some good teams. If you're interested, check out the teams we drafted with Hartman on Monday. And check out his channel, Hartman Fantasy Football, here on YouTube. Give him a subscription as well. Shout out Hartman. We also have Who in the chat. Shout out Who Hames. He just surpassed 500. He's going to have a long stream on his hands post-draft. And congrats, Who Hames, to going over 500. If I haven't said it already, congrats to Who Hames. On to the next checkpoint, my friend. On to good things. Like I said, at the first time I was on your channel, I think I mentioned, I think you're going to have a good year. On to bigger and better. Congrats, Who Hames. I will go AJ Brown on this one. Haven't taken him in a minute, but I still believe in the true upside, still believe in his value in the third. And it's one of the correct picks. Him and Olave, if you prefer Olave, I suppose that's fine, but I still think I prefer AJ Brown. I took him so much that I kind of fell behind with Olave, and that's why you've probably seen me click Olave more often than AJ Brown. I needed to catch up for a while, but especially if this is maybe my last big board draft potentially, let's stick to our guns. One of my takes this year is that AJ Brown is one of the best picks if not the best, in round 3 at receiver. I think he's better than Rashee Rice still. He could be better than Drake London. I'm not convinced he's better than Nico Collins, but I think he could arguably be going right next to Malik Nabers. And I don't think that would be egregious at all. Especially if he does get traded, which is still, I think, more likely than not going to happen. The Beast came out today. He has Emmett, RB4, Katron 5, and Jonah Coleman 6. 7 is Claiborne. Interesting. Very interesting. Mr. Mufasa says, I'll be here to victory lap or eat my crow, but I'm sold on Bill the way many are sold on one-legged scat. Well, last year, Bill was one of my boys. And then the price just got a little too crazy for my liking. But I think I'm going to go Javonte here. I'm willing to pass on Bucky. We have Puka and A.J. Brown. But no, I'm going to go Travion instead. And if you've watched the channel long enough, especially for the sake of my A.J. Brown takes, you probably know what I might be trying to build with this Travion selection. But Bucky does fall to the team with JSN, Bowers, and Pickens. That's a very interesting combo. You have an excellent team. Bijan and London. Yeah, that team did get Bijan London. Super nice bros. Got a super nice Falcons combo. Pepper Tony says, if you think I'm taking a break before my holy day, you're out of your mind. I believe you, Crossface. I believe you. And yes, Who Hames. This is correct. My first ever appearance on anyone else's channel alongside anyone else also on my channel was with Who Hames. Who Hames is a real one. Shout out Who Hames. Subscribe to Who Hames. About to hop into Drafters and put this ganja to use. Good luck over there. I've actually never drafted on Drafters. I have an account. I've never made a deposit, and it was annoying to have to verify myself with them, and I got kind of fed up about a week ago, and so I kind of just left that alone. I had to verify it on my phone, and the link they gave me an error message. So I said, fuck that. But indeed, y'all should use promo code WHO if you are signing up with Drafters. I'm going to try to use it, but because I've already signed up, it might only work because it's my first deposit. But if I can use it, I 100% will use it. Pepper Tony loves Drafters, doesn't really care about the format, but the website is awesome. I like their dailies. Nice. Yup, think I'm gonna do that, but I should probably give myself an out. Nope. I'm gonna commit. Let's go Devontae Adams with Puka. Let's set it up. Let's do it. Round 4, Travion Henderson. Round 5, Devontae Adams. With Puka in the first, Henry in the second, and A.J. Brown in the third. Let's go. On first deposit, it will happen. But for me there, it was either Devontae Adams or Rome Odunze. What's funny is Julio just got Colston Loveland Rome Odunze, and I'm pretty convinced that this Luther Burden drafter is going to be sniping him. I'm pretty sure that Poker Toker is sniping Caleb Williams at pick 66. But even if that happens, I think he'll have Joe Burrow available at 67. So he's got some outs here. Barring a random decision, I think he's in fine shape. But Yeah, especially if there's no contest dropped once this one is full, then I may be very quickly heading over to Drafters. Perhaps our first Drafters lobby will be tomorrow, because I only have one more War Room left, and honestly, I'd rather do it off the stream. But probably not. Probably going to do it on the stream. And if we have to, we'll go to Drafters instead. But yesterday, PPR Tyler asked me, what am I going to do at 10K subscribers? If you missed it, I told him I will do one of those $100 drafts on the live when we hit that like goal. It's not going to happen in the bigger board. Unfortunately, did not happen in time, but it will happen. And like I said, that Caleb Williams snipe did occur, and the Joe Burrow snipe happened. Damn, Swift is still here, but there's a big run on quarterback right now, and this is what we were setting up with that Travion Henderson pick. This was always the intention, but to pass on DeAndre Swift there feels crazy. Wow, Harvey goes over Swift. If the team with Bijan gets DeAndre Swift, I'm going to be fucking mad. Come on. There we go, Mr. Migo. Good click, Mr. Migo. Good job. I regret passing, but there was probably no way I was getting Drake May to circle back. Pretty strong run at quarterback in the 6th there, and we know these teams. Yeah, I Love Nosaka takes Herbert at 71. The pressure is on. But, ooh, that team at 1 passes. Interesting decision. Herbert, Jackson Dart, not bad at all. Alec Pierce goes off the board. This is a fairly gross range. Not an exciting one. What are you gonna do? I go Chuba Hubbard. Now the values I've seen on tight end have been pretty ludicrous, but I do think I want a few shares of Tyler Warren. So I'll mix him in here. Round 7, pick 77. Tyler Warren. Pretty solid option. And there's one click that I need to be making in the next 2 picks, and I might feel the pressure to take him at 92 as opposed to 101. So that would mean if Tucker Kraft is sitting there and I take him, I might get sniped on who I really, really need on this team. So if you're paying attention to this roster, you know who I'm talking about. You know the direction I'm trying to go. And I'm looking at this draft board. We got Super Nice Bros without a quarterback. Mr. Migo without a quarterback. You without a quarterback. I Love Nosaka was the only one that I think really played it correctly. Maybe he didn't need to take 2, but I think passing on a quarterback there at the 6-7 turn was a mistake by some of these 4 teams. Now, they might get perfect combos in the 8th, 9th round, maybe even get lucky in the 10th or 11th. But if they don't have an urgency at quarterback at the 8-9 turn, then they can get buried and really get screwed. And it's going to be interesting to see what round 8 has to offer, because every team except for team 10 on this side of the board does have a quarterback already. Lawrence is off, paired with Brian Thomas. The team with Evans is hoping to get Brock Purdy. If he misses out, at least he does have the Falcons combo to kind of save him late. But wow, DC Boy passed. I think DC Boy taking a big gamble, but because they have an earlier 10th round pick, I think they might get away with it. Kraft did get taken, so I'm much happier about my Tyler Warren selection. damn it. I genuinely don't think I can afford to pass on him. Maybe I'm misreading the room. But, like, I think I just have to go Stafford. But maybe the little monologue I went on there is incorrect, and fuck it. Maybe this room just doesn't value quarterback the way I'm thinking. It's fully advertised by my Puka and Adams click. But I'm going to push it. Let's risk it. I expected more quarterbacks off the board in the 8th round, to be honest. Pepper Tony, you haven't finished your little boards? And you're asking for me to do a 250 draft? At least finish your little boards first. Pepper Tony, all you want to do is just watch. You got to live. But if you're saving your entries, I get it. They're definitely going to change. Once we have 18-round drafts, they're 100% going to change. But I'm probably getting sniped anyways. Here it is. Probably getting sniped by Mr. Migo. But take Kyler Murray. Nope. There it is. I'll be okay. I'll be okay. Whatever. We get Romeo Dobbs to circle back. We get another Drake May stack. There we go. Drake May, Derrick Henry, Travion Henderson, Rico Dowdle. We got Rico as our RB3, so we're in very good position. Our wide receiver room has Puka, AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, and Romeo Dobbs. Might get a double stack in New England potentially. Was trying to get the double stack in LA, but it didn't happen. Tyler Warren. Feels pretty balanced and fair. But Mr. Migo took Swift, took Stafford. Probably the right decision, but perhaps Kyler Murray would have been better. But Stafford was an MVP candidate last year. Stafford is probably the better decision. Caleb and Burrow shouldn't be going right next to Hurts and Daniels. I can see rising rookies push QBs down around maybe. Just structurally, the position will like slowly trickle down. I don't expect Caleb to be going in round 6. I don't expect Drake May to be going in round 6 either. Herbert probably stays in the 7th, maybe the 8th, but the 8th and 9th is where most of the quarterback ranges are going to settle. 8, 9, and 10. Some of the guys going in round 7 right now will be going in rounds 8, 9, and 10.
Nice and blunt. Nice and blunt. Drafting BestBall.
This is a really good fall on Blake Corum. And we spoke about him earlier. Let's do it. Let's at least not give Blake Corum to the Stafford drafter. Just take the top of ADP. The best price.
Nice.
But Darnold goes... Kenny G at 118. That's pretty solid. Pocket passers are too priced up, going to be very 2 QB again if it holds like this. Yeah, I do think if there's one that should be going much higher when we reset this contest, it's probably Kyler Murray. PPR Tyler thinks he's a 7th, 8th round turn. Like, Tyler thinks Kyler should be going in the 80s, and I don't think that's off base at all. With his rushing value in the Kevin O'Connell system, that's the upside where I think it's legit. Kyler versus Caleb Williams is actually a pretty interesting argument. Kyler versus Jackson Dart, also kind of legit. I'm just going to do this. Pick 125. Bucket. He's not making it back to 140. Coker 124 versus Omar Cooper Jr. 125. That's a little disappointing, though. Coolers says only 5 quarterbacks actually fell more than 10% off their contest opening ADP. They never really fell much. I don't know where this narrative has come from when the ADP data has always been there. Well, the thing is, the ADP data was never reflecting a position that was this highly coveted. Like, maybe you're right, Coolers. You probably have done more research on the data than I have. So maybe I'm way off base, but I think the nature of these prices right now are because of the extra 20th round. A little bit more forcing more 3 quarterback builds, and therefore the entire sense of urgency is one of the reasons why. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's just a wrong assumption to make. But on that thinking, my next assumption would be going down to 18 rounds lessens your willingness to take the 3rd quarterback, and therefore the prices just naturally become cheaper. But I respect your opinion. So if that's what the data has indicated, then that's probably what's going to happen. I got no idea. There's some weird aspects of the ADP I would never have predicted coming into this year. And every year it's always different. So like I'm ready to be surprised about how things shake out, and that's where I think just maintaining a pace with like drafting kind of like helps you out, where you're able to scoop up all of the varying prices as things shift. Goddard is still here, but damn it, I think I have to go Daniel Jones. We spoke about an urgency at quarterback earlier on. It's still very much present. Mr. Migo, who sniped me on Stafford Unstacked, only has 1 quarterback. He has 2 picks. And then don't underestimate anybody else's desire to take a 3rd quarterback. Even I Love Nosaka that went Herbert and Dart, took Goff with Laporta early on. So there's just a lot of urgency at that position in general these days. It's hard to predict. Like I thought maybe I could push Stafford, but then that team took a 3rd. I didn't expect that. I sure didn't expect that. So I'm not going to underestimate my capacity to be wrong. But that's my opinion. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But easily take Caleb over Kyler Murray. I would too, for sure. But I'm not convinced that the tier is that massive of a difference. Like, you might only be getting like 1 point per game difference when it's all said and done, potentially. Just arrives at it at a much different way. Like Caleb, I would expect to have more like 30+ point games. Kyler to maybe just be more like consistent, steady production. Would have loved a tight end to circle back. I think I'm gonna go I'll put Jonathan Brooks on this team. Feel good enough about the 4 that I have, and like, I think his upside is truly worth it. I'm not afraid of drafting Jonathan Brooks in the 13th round. Not afraid of it. And I've seen him go in the 12th a little more often. Brooks versus Keaton Mitchell, I would say Brooks at least has a lot easier competition to bring down ahead of him. But always predicted it, but they honestly haven't moved a lot other than those names I said. And Stafford, I assume. Yeah, Stafford's an interesting name. I've seen Stafford fall to 120 before. I've seen Stafford just totally plummet. Nobody wants Stafford sometimes. Coolers does not use the sidekick, but in general, I think its sim strategy is super aggro at quarterback and running back. That's for sure driving it, but
Drafting best ball.
yeah, I guess that applies to the people who draft the most volume, especially. And if they ever go on auto, that's 100% going to be pushing it up. So you're probably right, Coolers. I very much respect your opinion. So if you don't buy it, then it's probably not going to change very much. Probably not. But in general, I do kind of feel like structurally taking a quarterback in the 8th or 9th round is very often one of the better ways to go about it. But you're probably not going to get like a top 3 quarterback when you do that. It's rare. It's kind of tough. But for you to lock in like a top 10 quarterback and still get like really good roster spots everywhere else, that's where I think most quarterbacks should be going for most builds myself. And then some of them are just wrongly priced in general. But one thing is for sure, they're always going to fluctuate. That's for sure. But fuck yeah, Hunter Henry's still on the board here. That's perfect. I'll take Hunter Henry, no doubt about it. 164. Nice little mini fall in price on both options. We got Tyler Warren 9 picks past ADP, and then we got Hunter Henry 6 picks past ADP, and both of those are stacked up with quarterbacks as well. I got Drake May, Daniel Jones. Probably should have taken Stafford over Rico Dowdle. That's probably just like the big misfire of this draft. Hindsight, always 2020. Missed it by 2 clicks. Whatever. But we're coming up on pick 173. We might be getting Emmett Johnson again. But my receiver room has Puka, AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, Romeo Doubs, and Omar Cooper Jr. That might be a bit more of a necessity. And who knows, maybe Emmett Johnson's going to fall back in the 190s. Maybe, just maybe. No, he goes to you. You take him. You don't let me have him. You take him. We are going to go Christian Kirk in round 15.
Nice and blunt.
Very valuable. Don't expect him to make it back. And I think one of the more reliable like offenses to bet on in that range. But Cooler says, I'm not sure what will happen when we go to 18, to be honest. I think sidekick users will still be taking them super early, if I had to guess, though. But that's only a smaller part of the ADP market. They're just going to go 3, 5, 7, 3. Probably. Yep, we're still drafting. Just got off work, heading home. Have a good safe drive, Jamie. Are we doing another one? I don't think so. I have dinner plans with my girlfriend. I don't think I can afford to do one more. Plus, had the first draft I done not been a war room, then the budget wouldn't be pressed a little bit today. There's a daily budget, and today it definitely went a little over than what was expected. So in that regard, I don't think so. But we did a war room at the top of this one. Check that one out. If you're just hopping in, the replay I think has some legit replay value. We start off with a war room. I'll drop the timestamps after I log off here. But that team was pretty solid, and then this last one was pretty good. And this one I think is okay. Quarterback, though, I think I clearly messed up with no Stafford. The budget's always a factor. But we do got some help from Underdog with the budget. But whew, Trey Harris still here. Yo, I know Goofy Chicken likes Trey Harris. We're going Trey Harris, not just because it's the right click, but also in honor of Goofy Chicken. Fuck yeah. Give me Trey Harris. At the moment, I think the most valuable Charger receiver to draft. At the moment, by far the most valuable. If he survives the draft, might be wrong about that. But free agency, up in the air. I still think Trey Harris is going to have a year 2 breakout, regardless of all of the other noise around him. If they can find a way to replace Quentin Johnston with Trey Harris next season, then they will pass on giving Quentin Johnston that second contract, and Trey Harris will be the man. If that's going to happen, it's because he's going to start to take over mid-season, and if they don't bring in a good veteran, then I don't see them drafting good enough competition for Trey Harris. He was a second-round pick last year, and I think he's poised to break out. But give Goofy Chicken a subscription. Head over there. We drafted in his lobby. I was in the chat. I was in the lobby with him, and had a really, really good team with Goofy Chicken. Very fun stream. He's got amazing energy. Hopefully, Trey Harris delivers for both of us, my friend. Tyreek Hill still circles back, but no, we will get a starter as our third. We take Aaron Rodgers as the third, and this also justifies my Rico Dowdle selection. There we go. I feel a little bit better about the Rico Dowdle click. I maybe should have taken Michael Pittman over Romeo Doubs, but at least at that moment, we were locking up a stack that was known to us with Drake May. The Pittman stack was unknown, and then we also took Pittman on the previous team, so I don't mind it, not at all. We get Rodgers in the 17th round, and for the sake of value, once you miss out on Cam Ward, Daniel Jones, I think you should just be trying to get Aaron Rodgers. I don't believe the Geno Smith price at 154 versus Rodgers 197 is valuable. Geno, I never click with just the hope of getting Rodgers, and then I'm willing to just push that I only end up with 2. I'm usually committing enough draft capital early on to be fine if I wind up with 2. But we do get Rodgers, so this team is looking a little better. Freiermuth does go pick 202. That would have been nice, but DC Boy only had Kraft at that point. Definitely a solid investment. Good decision for him. I'm rocking with Tyler Warren and Hunter Henry. I'm chilling. I'm not too upset with my tight end room. But would have loved to get Freiermuth at 212. That would have been a super valuable stacking option. But I got Rico Dowdle at least. We're chilling with Rico Dowdle. I fully agree with this, Coolers. I fully agree. That would be so ironic and just a perfect end to the contest if that's what happened. 2 QB lineup wins it all. I'm glad they gave you something. I know most of you guys stream just because you enjoy it, but it's also free advertising. Yeah, I believe that every streamer has a lot more bargaining power than they think they do. But I'm going to spoil the parade for the Stafford drafter. I hope they got Terrence Ferguson. Did he? He did not. Mr. Migo does not have the backstack with Stafford. Suck it. Suck it, Mr. Migo. I'm bitter about it. in regards to this, it's because I joined the partner program. If I wasn't also offering, speaking of which, if I didn't have, oh, not this graphic. Oh, whoops. I might have used the wrong graphic stored in this one. Yeah, I might have fucked that up. I changed the graphic last time, and I don't think I have the correct one saved. So I'll have to make a new one. But if I didn't have these graphics to show you, then I wouldn't be getting site credit. You also have to try to recruit new people. But at the very least, what I asked for was given to me faster than I expected. So I don't think I asked for enough. I'll put it that way. I think they were willing to give me more than what I asked for. But we out here, Jiri. How we doing? You're going live in like 2 hours, right? I believe Jiri is going live at 7:30 p.m. Pacific tonight. So on the East Coast, that's 10:30. Late night stream for y'all on the East Coast. I don't really want Najee Harris. I think I'm gonna go Kyle Williams, because if Kyle Williams really breaks out, that's like Trey Harris. Like year 2. Let's do it. Let's further commit to this Patriots stack. Maybe AJ Brown is not indeed on the Pats, but we got Romeo Doubs, we have Kyle Williams and Hunter Henry, and potentially we also have AJ Brown. We might just have a mega Drake May Patriots stack on this roster, but Daniel Jones stacked up with Tyler Warren, that feels pretty legit. I almost never take Daniel Jones, and Hartman has convinced me he will be healthier than I envision. Huhames agrees, so I should be taking more Daniel Jones. We got the Tyler Warren stack. Also have Hunter Henry stacked up with Colby Parkinson, who I think is one of the more valuable options. We also said fuck you to Mr. Migo, who sniped us on Stafford. We needed that stack, but given I have the Rico Dowdle click instead of Stafford, it's all right, because then we wouldn't have taken Rodgers, and then we would have been looking at instead of Aaron Rodgers, Alvin Kamara. We would have been looking at Alvin Kamara versus Rico Dowdle. I think I'm okay. Perhaps the Stafford option is what really cements this team as legit. But at the end of the day, we have 3 quarterbacks regardless, and we took Drake May in the 6th. We're really betting that Drake May is just like as good as last year. We never really need to worry about anyone else in the lineup. And especially if AJ Brown does get there, then I think that is worthy of that price. Let's draft like we're right, best case scenario. The Patriots mega stack is what I need. Huhames, you will. I expect you to. But I think if you reached out to the way I did it, I reached out to the contact page. But I don't know what their criteria is. If all they care about is subscribers, then they have their priorities in the wrong department, because anyone who streams offers legit advertising value to this company. But shout out Underdog, promo code BLUNT gets you $50 in bonus funds on sign up. I'm gonna go DJ Giddens. Let's bet against Jonathan Taylor. Let's get one of those handcuffs that would definitely be in your lineup if the starter went down. DJ Giddens might be a 0 again, but if Taylor ever misses time, he's missed time in the past. Giddens for the win also correlates a little bit with our Daniel Jones investment. Just a little bit. Not much, but just a little bit. We got some running back stacks in Rico, DJ Giddens, and then most notably, most importantly, Travion Henderson. I think the running back stack is a little undervalued. It's not the best way to go about it, but it is valuable. I will say that. The running back stack is underrated. Can be the right way to go about it. But we also have some inevitable stacks with at least Romeo Doubs, Kyle Williams, and Hunter Henry. We got the Tyler Warren stack as well. And yeah, team feels good. Running back feels pretty strong. We got Derrick Henry, Travion Henderson, Rico Dowdle, Blake Corum, Jonathan Brooks, DJ Giddens. That Blake Corum price felt awesome. Pick 116. Another FU to the team with Stafford. Yeah, a little bit of bitterness on this team. But if we win, if we advance in this lobby, it's going to feel so sweet. So let's go. Let's go. Drake May, Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers. And then the receiver room, I think, is fine. Puka, A.J. Brown, Adams, Dobbs, Cooper, Christian Kirk, Trey Harrison, Kyle Williams. Tight end room is great. I like this team. Let me know in the comments, though. Did this team need Stafford? Stafford versus Rico. Did I make the right decision? Yes or no? QJ Stocks. He's okay. He's okay. But he can also deflate the stadium with one drop. Like, the entire stadium can just feel so fucking annoyed. So effing pissed if he fucks up. It's not worth it to have a player like that everyone fucking hates. But Al Boogie's in here. Yo. How we doing, Al Boogie? Caught the end of the stream. You say 4 QB be my favorite this year. Damn. Wild. Money Mendoza says, should have gone 101 in this. At least not in this one, man. He will go 101 in the draft. Don't you worry. But Jiri says, yes, sir. We work in 12 hours today, but stream grind don't stop. Good luck, my man. Excited for that. I'll try to pop in. I got some dinner plans, but I'll try and have you on in the background if I'm driving at that point in time. It's all site credits all the way down. I wouldn't say that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how it works, but okay, you're joking. Okay. Four is a little overkill, but I have a few 4 teams. There is Julio in this draft that went with Joe Burrow, Tua, Penix, and Ty Simpson. He does have 4. Got a little desperate, and also sniped the Bijan London drafter from getting either of the Falcons. That's interesting. They got stuck with Shador. Shador unstacked. Gross. That sucks. That fucking sucks. They took Njoku and didn't get... They took Njoku and Otten and then didn't get Tua to make it back. Bummer. Bummer for Team 1. All right. We did have Julio in here with us. Let's take a look at Julio in totality. He went CMC, Chase Brown, T. Higgins, Colston Loveland, Rome Odunze, Joe Burrow. Did miss out on the Caleb stack. We got the Joe Burrow double stack, so he was in good shape either way. Cortland Sutton, Wandale, Michael Pittman. So pretty solid receiving room. Very, very good clicks for the sake of depth. Jadarian Price at 115. That's awesome. Jonah Coleman is okay, but Mike Washington right after him. That's fine. That's pretty solid. Travis Hunter, Stephon Diggs, high upside with them for the price. Not bad clicks at all. Dalton Schultz, the second tight end with Loveland. That's fine. Jordan James, RB6 with Jaden Blue, RB7. So kind of thin at running back. Need one of these rookies to pop, but I think you do have the Seahawks RB1 with Jadarian Price. So good luck there. CMC, Chase Brown just have to stay healthy. A really legit team. Very good. And then enough depth at quarterback, but this could be dog shit. Like Ty Simpson, probably a 0. Quarterback could be dog shit, but as long as Joe Burrow's healthy, you're in business, my man. Good luck to you, Julio. Drafting at the 6. Otherwise, I think Libra may have been drafting, but didn't let me know. This was Delusional Vikings fan. Julio. Julio. I'm curious what team you did, just for the sake of it. JSN Bowers, Pickens, Bucky, Quinchon, Harvey, and Chuba. The fact they passed on Swift was a mistake. Bo Nix, Godwin, Darnold, Coker, Bryce Young, Andrews, Debo, Emmett Johnson at a good price. Brazzle, Kimani Vidal, Torrey Horton, Branch Vele. It's fine. It's nothing amazing. A good bet on Darnold, decent bet on Young, and then Bo Nix, not really stacked. Yeah, not at all. Just RJ Harvey. Whatevs. I don't know if you is the team I'm most afraid of. But I thought my team was good. Could have been a tiny bit better, but my team was good. I think we're eligible to advance. Not a lock, though. Anyways, that's going to be it for today, and I appreciate everyone who stopped by. We have one more rip of the pipe. Sadly, no, it's cleared. It's cleared, but I'll leave the drop. I will be doing it on my own post stream. But for anyone who has something, smoke it if you got it. I'll see you tomorrow on the live stream. Bye-bye.